Thank you, Hugh. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Oakwell. And we tried to take them on at their own game, said Cauley Woodrow, the Barnsley forward, when he was reflecting on these clubs' last meeting. Chelsea won 6-0. Kai Havertz grabbed a hat-trick and Tammy Abraham laid most of them on for the German. That said, Woodrow, was a mistake. We are much more aggressive now. They will have to be. Chelsea are amongst the favourites for the Cup because of their draw and because since Thomas Tuchel took over they are unbeaten. They are favourites tonight because although they have made 10 changes, they are fielding a team that includes World Cup winners, the guy who wants to be Spain's number one, the top scorer, and a bloke who cost 60 million quid. The fact that Kepa Arrizabalaga has failed to live up to his price tag is not a problem for the new boss, Thomas Tuchel. They've been fine for me, he says. So this is how Barnsley line up, just one change from their last outing. They've got Bradley Collins in goal, Toby Sibbick, Mikael Helik, Mads Andersen as a back three, Britton, Kane, Mowat and Styles as a midfield quartet with Odeboyego, Woodrow and Chaplin as a three-pronged attack. Chelsea have Arrizabalaga in goal, a back three of Zuma, Christensen and Emerson, Hudson-Odoi is the right wing back, Conte, Gilmour and Alonso through the middle, with Alonso playing as the left wing back, Ziyech and Pulisic supporting Tammy Abraham in attack. The bench, well, there's a lot of experience on the Chelsea one, not so much on the Barnsley one. Wharton Williams, DK, the new signing from the USA, he's been bought in from Orlando City on loan until the end of the season. Ramal Palmer, Oduor, Sal Bauer, Friesia, Moon and Thompson, both of whom are yet to make their debuts. For Chelsea, Caballero is the reserve goalkeeper, Rudiger, Kovacic, Giroud, Chilwell, James, Azpilicueta, Partey and Angerin on the bench. Danny Mills is alongside me. You must have played in games like this. I know you've played at Oakwell before, but you've played in games like this where you're expected to roll over the opposition. Barnsley were...
I love this time of year, Sam, because everyone... Yes, we were at Leeds, we were top of the Premier League, we went to Cardiff and we lost.
But what was that experience like? And what was it like in the dressing room before the game? What was the reason for that defeat? Was it the fact that you took it maybe a little bit too easily? Were you a bit complacent?
We went 1-0 up in the game. We went 1-0 up. We were flying, we were cruising. It was a very, very strong side as well. I mean, all the big hitters were playing at Leeds that day. You know, this was not 10 changes. There might have been one change, you know, if that. Everybody played in that game. And maybe it's a little bit of complacency at times. If you know, your attitude has to be spot on. You know, Barnsley will be well up for this. You know, this is their cup final, effectively, this evening. They'll all be thinking about, you know, COVID restriction, whatever. So can we nick a shirt at the end of the game? You know, who can we get hold of? So if Chelsea aren't right, mentally, you know, if they don't do it properly, then yes, it could easily cause a problem.
Andreas Christensen is standing as the right of three centre-backs. As Martin Atkinson, our referee, then blows his whistle again, and we're off and underway. And I was going to point out, with Chelsea shooting from left to right in blue shirts, blue shorts and socks, all in blue tonight, and Barnsley in cherry red shirts, white shorts and red socks attacking the goal away to our left. But Andreas Christensen almost belying his stature, giving away a little bit in his body language, wringing his hands because he's incredibly cold, blowing into them and rubbing them together. That's the kind of thing that I suppose a gnarled old Barnsley centre forward of times gone by might well sniff out as a possible weakness.
No, look, there's a few, 4 or 5 Barnsley players in short sleeves. Not a single player from Barnsley wearing gloves. Several in the Chelsea side. There are quite a lot of Chelsea players with their socks above their knees. I don't like that. I've never liked that in any way, shape or form. And it doesn't. It's just, you start to get that feeling, you know what? They might not fancy it this evening. Let's get at them. Let's put them under a little bit of pressure. It's not like, you know, when I used to play where you could leave a foot in and you could be obviously a little bit more aggressive. But, you know, this is about Chelsea's attitude. And if they don't start well, it's sometimes difficult to change that around.
Well, they haven't started particularly well, and they've given away a throw-in on this near side. Now, Dominic Friesia, who usually has the ability to toss in a throw-in from distance is not on the pitch from the very beginning. In fact, this may well be a corner it's gone out for. In fact, it is. It's the first corner of the game, and it's gone Barnsley's way. So this is a good start for the Championship side. 13th in the Championship at the moment, Barnsley. Attacking the goal away to our left. It'll be taken on the near side by Callum Britton, who delivers it into the near post. Tammy Abraham gets there first and heads it away. Comes out to the left edge of the area, and then it's recycled and played into midfield, where Callum Stiles sends it back out to the left, and Herbie Kane trying to struggle to keep it in on this near touchline, almost loses his footing. It goes out for a throw. 0-0 the score, but Barnsley with a quick start to proceedings. No, so I don't want you to think for any moment that we were saying that Chelsea shouldn't be wearing long sleeve shirts, bearing in mind that Danny Mills bought a small portable heater with him tonight and has placed it rather gently underneath our legs, so we're quite happy and comfortable up here.
I am sharing it though. I'm sharing
you are sharing it, but we're very comfortable.
But it's a point. I mean, when I played, I never played in long sleeves, never wore gloves, those types of things, and you're looking for any sort of.
They've given the ball away edge of the area. Woodrow turns and smashes it goalwards, and it goes over the top of the crossbar on the volley after Billy Gilmore and Emerson tied themselves in a bit of a knot on the edge of the penalty area, and Chelsea are yet to settle.
Yeah, they are, and you're looking for any sort of edge that you possibly can. You're looking around and thinking, well, look, player for player, they're all better than us. We know that. So how are we going to disrupt them? Are they up to it? Do they really fancy it? They've had to get changed, in a distant part of the ground on the far side. It's not ideal for Chelsea. It's their reserves, effectively, at the moment. Do they really want to be at Barnsley on a very, very cold Thursday night? Probably not, is the answer. They probably feel that they should be in the Premier League side.
Kepa Arrizabalaga playing the ball to Zuma, who's playing in the middle of the three central defenders. It's played out by Christensen, but the high press is on here from Barnsley, who are a very fit team. They have to be for that high energy, high pressing style that is demanded by Valerian Ismail, their manager. And they aren't letting Chelsea get out of their own half. In fact, Chelsea have not crossed the halfway line until this point, when the ball is kicked long, aimed towards Hudson-Odoi, headed away and sent out to Stiles on this left-hand side. Ziyech gets there, heads it on to Callum Hudson-Odoi, who runs infield, then plays the ball out to the wide left, where Alonso takes it on now for Chelsea. 0-0 the score on TalkSport, 4 minutes played. Pulisic runs down the left, and they just seem to pull up slightly there, Christian Pulisic. And I just wonder whether or not he has tugged his hamstring, Danny Mills.
He's got cold feet, isn't he? It's been a theme this last couple of weeks. Again, he hasn't really been in the game at all. Yes, it is very, very cold. And if you're standing around and then suddenly you try and push off and sprint off and you're not quite ready, it doesn't look comfortable.
Yeah, that will have to be something that Chelsea keep an eye on, because he did seem to just pull up as the ball went down towards the corner flag. He sprinted into that area and then immediately looked as if he was pulling up lame. He seems to be getting his jog back on, but the last thing that Christian Pulisic will want is to have another hamstring injury. He pulled his hamstring during the FA Cup final, you may remember, when going through one-on-one in the second half. Gilmore wins it back inside his own territory, plays it square. Pulisic doesn't look comfortable but tries to edge the ball out to Alonso. It takes a deflection off a Chelsea body, and Barnsley, who have started the quicker, have it again over on the far side. They have had a rest after their game against Derby was called off here, a frozen pitch. They haven't played for 12 days. And the pitch isn't particularly good. There's lots of sort of scruffy patches, and we saw it being watered earlier, and it didn't take the water particularly well. And I think that is also another tactic that Barnsley have employed to try and gain a very small advantage here. N'Golo Conte in the team for the first time, starting in the team for the first time since Thomas Tuchel took over the club. Sent forward by Ziyech, out towards the near side, 10 yards inside Barnsley territory is Hudson-Odoi. Infield he goes to Tammy Abraham. Ziyech trying to join. Across comes Alex Mowatt in midfield to win it back for Barnsley, and eventually just bundled over towards this near side, and it's out for a throw-in to the home team. 0-0 the score. You are listening to TalkSport. Sam Matterface and Danny Mills here tonight, live at Oakwell. And Oakwell is a fascinating little stadium. 4 independent stands, 3 built in the last 30 years, and this one on the west side of the ground with its corrugated iron roof was built in the 1900s, and it's got its original seats actually behind us, not the ones we're sitting on, although these benches look pretty old.
I was just saying they're not particularly new, are they?
But the original seats at the back, the wooden seats at the back, sort of very much an original installation. Here is Adebayo on the left-hand side, trying to get into a wing position. He advances down the left side of the penalty area and is nudged out of play by Christensen, and it goes out for a throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area to Barnsley. And I mentioned that long throw that is possessed by Frazier. Well, Herbie Kane's going to have a go at it now. He steps up to the line and launches it in towards the near post. It's flicked on, loose inside the area. Ziyech wins it, takes it towards the byline, and then across comes Moa. He's quicker to it, and Kane has it once again. And here is Styles crossing into the box. Heading away is Christensen, and it bounces out into midfield. But it's been all Barnsley in the opening 7 minutes.
Barnsley have started the game exceptionally well. Very high tempo, high press. Chelsea are being a little bit lax, would you say, so far? I mean, I think it's really interesting. You look at the pitch isn't great, but there's a lot of pitches that aren't great at the moment, and that's right across the Premier League as well. I don't think it's just our view. The pitch looks quite small. It's not. There isn't actually a great deal of difference in pitches these days.
But Chelsea have been rushed every time they've tried to play out from the back from a goal kick and lost the ball every time. You would have thought they would have learnt from that by now, as Moet bursts into the area. The ball always runs to Woodrow, comes back to Herbie Kane, he strikes it, and it goes straight through the Chelsea defence and out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. But that all came about from Chelsea trying to play out from the back and being rushed and pressed very high up by Barnsley. And Thomas Tuchel's not happy about it. He's out on the edge of the technical area, which is just a little step up from the dugouts, and he's come out to have a word with his troops, and now they do kick it long, unsurprisingly.
This is where you need experienced experienced players to go, you know what, the manager said play out from the back, ignore it, because it's clearly not working, and Barnsley getting on top of us, and you know, Kepa's just done the right thing there. Just stick it down the pitch.
But they had to be told that by the manager. It seems strange to me how they couldn't have worked that out after the first time. They played it into midfield. Hudson-Odoi goes down the right. He's just strayed a little bit in front of the left wing back Callum Styles, and the offside flag is up on this near side, and it's a free kick to Barnsley away to our right. We played 9 minutes. You're listening to Talk Sport.
This is where, sorry Sam, I think this is where you get players are a little bit robotic at times in this day and age. And we talk about characters, you know, or not having enough characters within the team. If I was out there at the moment, you'd be saying, right, you know what, forget what the manager said, we're under the cosh, we're getting beat here, you know what, stick a few long balls in behind Barnsley, let's get in their half, let's start to play and put them under pressure. They've been under, 10 minutes in? No pressure whatsoever at the moment. That can't be right when you're the Premier League side.
Well, it is -2, but the real feel is -7, but at the moment it's Chelsea who have looked like they're standing in ice. And certainly all the heat has come from the home side. It's still 0-0. We've played nearly 10 minutes. A good start by Barnsley. Chelsea trying to wrestle back a bit of control. Conte, who's the captain tonight, plays it back to Christensen. Pressure immediately applied by Connor Chaplin on Kepa Arrizabalaga, who needs to have a good game tonight, really, you feel, after mistakes in the previous rounds. Header on by Abraham, didn't really connect with it. Ziyech tries to run towards it, and Brad Collins, being shut down by Ziyech, decides to kick long. Adebayo goes up and tries to head it on, doesn't reach him. Woodrow runs into the centre, it's collected by Moet on the left-hand side. Barnsley coming forward again, beats Callum Hudson-Odoi, gets across in towards the near post, flick towards the far post, and sent in. Brilliant save down low by Kepa Arrizabalaga. It's a brilliant save by the goalkeeper, and boy did Chelsea need that, because that was a wonderful opportunity for Barnsley to take the lead.
I've no idea how he managed to keep that out. It was a fabulous ball in. The first little flick towards the far post, I thought that one was going to go in, and then there was another touch at the far post, and somehow, as it came back, Kepa managed to get down and get something on it and get it away. But what an opportunity for Barnsley.
I think it was Callum Britton coming in on the far side that got the final touch on the ball, but two of them, I think Woodrow and Britton, went towards the ball in front of Kepa Arrizabalaga. He got down very, very low to tip that ball away, and it was an important save, and what a save it was.
Barnsley have started the game absolutely brilliantly. I have to say, Chelsea look a little bit like, and we talked about it, a bit complacent. You know, they're thinking, they've got this air of, you know what, we've just got to turn up and we'll win the game. It's not a problem. A little bit too arrogant, I think, Chelsea's first sort of 10 minutes or so.
Well, both these two managers, Thomas Tuchel has been in charge for 4 matches, and Valérien Ismaël, who has been in charge of Barnsley for 4 months, have yet to meet their supporters of their respective clubs, but they know what the FA Cup means. Both of them have history. Barnsley's is mainly with Chelsea, the drubbing of '89, the huge scalp of 2008 when they upset Avram Grant's cup holders. They are certainly putting pressure on Chelsea here. They were winners in 1912. Here is Conte getting in front of Corley Woodrow, plays it out towards the near side, then back infield it goes to Emerson. Emerson just tries to trickle up towards the halfway line. Billy Gilmour takes over now, runs into a congested midfield, is shut down by Herbie Kane. The ball spirals into the air. It's won by Pulisic over on the far side, and Chelsea have it back again. 0-0, but Barnsley have had the best chance and most of the possession in the game so far. You're listening to Talk Sport. Very dark sky, the floodlights burning brightly into the Barnsley hills. I could see them as I was driving over Snakes Pass this evening.
Surprised it was open.
So it won't be open when I go back, I'm sure. I'm going to have to go the long way around. Here is Callum Hudson-Odoi down the right hand side, looking to get onto a long ball through the centre.
I mean, Chelsea just can't get going at the moment. They can't get a foothold in the game. They can't get any sort of possession, any way, shape or form. They have, you do that, they've turned up and it just feels like, you know, we will dominate this game. You know, it should be nice and easy for us. But, you know, Barnsley, all credit to them, have come out, all guns blazing and put Chelsea under some real pressure.
0-0. Chelsea are unbeaten so far under their new manager, Thomas Tuchel. 3 wins and a draw since taking over from Frank Lampard. But Barnsley pressing high up the field, ratting Chelsea, not allowing them to get their rhythm and their passing moving. They can't get out of their own half at all. Mowat stops Conte coming forward. And it's played through the middle to Conte and then Emerson out towards the far side. It's now collected by Billy Gilmour over on the far side. And then out to Pulisic, and then back to Emerson once again. 13 minutes play, Barnsley 0, Chelsea 0. Callum Britton's effort in the first 10 minutes of the game, certainly the best chance we've had so far. What a save by Kepa Arrizabalaga.
He should score though, Sam. I've just seen it back on the iPad, and it really should score in that situation. You know, he's 2 or 3 yards out, he doesn't quite catch it cleanly, almost comes off the sole of his foot. Any decent contact and Barnsley are 1-0 up.
Here is Abraham, deep inside his own territory, holding the ball up, then flicking it across the face of his own goal out towards the near side. It's chested down by Christensen, who brings it out from the back, plays it into midfield. Chelsea have not settled yet. Conte trying to chip it over the top. It's watched well and headed away by Mads Andersen, and it's out towards the far side. Helik, Sibuk and Anderson have had absolutely zip all to do so far in the game.
I think Chelsea have been in Barnsley's half with control 3 times, I would say, so far.
One of those was offside.
I mean, look at that. N'Golo Conte just turned, hit the ball blind, and he's missed Christensen by 3 or 4 yards. It's gone out for a Barnsley throw-in.
Has it got the feeling of one of those nights? Well, Stiles has just gone down the left, Zuma has failed to clear, the ball's gone out for another corner, and it's another Barnsley corner.
If it has, Barnsley need to score soon, because at half-time Thomas Tuchel's going to go absolutely nuts. You know, he will not be happy with the application of his team so far. So at the moment Barnsley are on top. They've got to make it count. Well, an opposition player is yet to score against Thomas Tuchel's team since he took over. The only goal that they've conceded was an own goal, quite a calamitous one, from Antonio Rudiger on Sunday night. But they have a chance to get a corner swung in here. Left-footed, outswinger by Mowat, in towards Anderson. Header away by Zuma. Drops in front of Kane. Stiles heads it forward. Sibuk tries to pick it up. It's sent wide again towards the left and Mowat, and he just didn't really catch it properly into the path of Stiles. Stiles chases down into the corner with Billy Gilmour, and it's hooked back in. Did it go out of play? The referee Martin Atkinson said indeed it did, and it's out for a throw on this near side. This is almost like a home game for Martin Atkinson, the Leeds-based referee. Hasn't had too much of a journey for him today. He's just directing Andreas Christensen as far back towards the corner flag as possible. Chelsea still hemmed in inside their own half here. I'll probably put the mockers on him now, but he's a good referee as well. I think he's a very calm, very considered referee. Doesn't often make rash decisions.
He's one of those who's done a huge number of games in Europe as well. You know, had his career in Europe extended because they trusted him so much. Here's Abraham charging into opposition territory. Oh, the ball goes spooning off Sibuk as Abraham tried to sort of speculatively drive the ball forward, and it goes up into the air, but Brad Collins watched it and just about reached up his long arms and grabbed it from the sky. That probably counts as a shot on target. Wasn't much of one. There was a little bit of nervousness from the
I think it's more of a pass back than a shot on target.
Don't argue with a statsman. Chelsea haven't been particularly thrilling, despite Tuchel's self-confessed love of attacking football, have they? But they have been hard to beat because they circulate the ball well and don't really let their opponents have it. That has been the theme up until this point. Certainly hasn't been the theme tonight, Danny Mills.
No, really disappointed. I'm a little bit surprised that Thomas Tuchel hasn't really come off the bench that much so far. I thought he'd have been out there, screaming and shouting, trying to, rally his troops, because at the moment they look a little bit... They're in their shell at the moment.
0-0. This is Talk Sport, and we're at Oakwell, where Barnsley and Chelsea are fighting for the right to play Sheffield United in the next round of the FA Cup. The quarter-final draw was made by Rashmin Chowdhury just prior to this match here. Everton will face Manchester City, Bournemouth will play Southampton, Leicester Manchester United, and Chelsea or Barnsley will play Sheffield United. That is the quarter-final draw, and it will take place on the weekend of the 20th and 21st of March. This is TalkSport. 0-0 between Barnsley and Chelsea here at Oakwell on a very cold Thursday evening. Here is Hakim Ziyech trying to get the ball out towards the right-hand side. He manages to find Callum Hudson-Odoi. Odoi turns and plays it back into Christensen, who dabs it forward into Billy Gilmour. Through the centre circle it goes, and out to the left-hand side of the trio of defenders. Emerson, who's playing as a third centre-half tonight. It's not really his position, but needs must. And for whatever reason, Reece James, who probably could have played as a third centre-half, has not been used very much by Thomas Tuchel up until this point. Here is Gilmour, square to Conte, out to the far side looking for Marcus Alonso, switched off for that opportunity that Callum Britton probably should have scored from. Movement was absolutely excellent. He totally lost Alonso, but the finish was tame, and it was saved by Kepa Arrizabalaga. Gilmour, bit of space for him, onto Abraham, edge of the area, trying to get beyond Sibbick. Did he get the ball? Sibbick. Abraham wants a penalty. Referee says he did get the ball, no penalty, and Abraham complains to the linesman on this near side. No VAR tonight.
I don't think it was a penalty from here. The ball was played through Abraham. Good strength from the centre half. Really good. I think it's Helik who just got his foot wrapped around it. That's not a penalty. Good decision.
Zuma has it deep inside his own half. We play 20 minutes. You're listening to TalkSport. Here is Christensen, the Dane, who is feeling a little bit chilly before kick-off. Ziyech out to the right. Now it's Hudson-Odoi who looks to try and get down the right side of the defence, taking on Anderson. Finds Ziyech, breaks in midfield. Gilmour commits. Mowatt brings it away. It's clipped forward down the right-hand side by Connor Chaplin, and running after it was Woodrow, but Emerson's going to get there first for Chelsea, and he guides it all the way back to the goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga, away to our left-hand side, wearing a bright green outfit tonight.
I've just seen it again, Sam. I think Barnsley might be a touch fortunate.
So slides in on Tammy Abraham and doesn't really get the ball, does he?
No, it's very, very close as Tammy Abraham goes to have a touch. Sibbick's foot catches Tammy Abraham first and doesn't get the ball. I think had that have gone to VAR, may well have been given as a penalty, but I think they're the sorts of... That's almost impossible at real speed for the referee to see that.
Here's Pulisic down the left, looking to play the ball into the penalty area. It's a dreadful pass forward, which goes straight through the box, misses both Tammy Abraham and Callum Hudson-Odoi, and runs through to Brad Collins, who played with them both, actually. Played with both Tammy Abraham and Callum Hudson-Odoi in the Chelsea youth team in his period as a goalkeeper for that particular cohort. All similar sort of... Hudson-Odoi actually very much younger than both Collins and Abraham, but did have a spell playing higher than his age, whilst the other two were still hanging around.
Why that penalty decision, or possible penalty, is a real difficult decision, because as Abraham goes to touch the ball, Sibbick's foot hits Abraham's foot at exactly the same time, and the ball moves. So from the referee's perspective, he's thinking, well, the ball's gone in that direction. I'm not 100% sure. I completely understand why he doesn't see that.
Long throw into the near post. Anderson tries to get underneath it. There was a foul there, and it's a free kick to Chelsea inside their penalty area. Here is Emerson out to Alonso on the far side. That's Marcus Alonso playing the ball back into the heart of the Chelsea defence, and Kurt Zouma, Gilmour, who was very quick to dab it back to Zouma, then a long diagonal out to the left finds Pulisic, who's trying to get the better of Britton. He does that, brings it in from the left touchline, moves towards the Barnsley penalty area. This is Conte, but a sustained pressure here from Chelsea for the first time as Gilmour works it out to Christensen. Christensen then hesitates and doesn't really feel as if he can get beyond Connor Chaplin, plays it into Gilmour. Lovely bit of movement on the half turn from him. He plays it square to Conte, who flicks it out to the left hand side over the head of the approaching Barnsley midfielder. It's on to Alonso, then Ziyech, who's crossed into the box. Another Tammy Tangle, and again he's looking at Martin Atkinson for a bit of help here as he goes down, this time after being tied in a knot with Mikael Helik.
I'm not sure what Tammy Abraham's sort of complaining about. It's difficult as the ball comes in. It seems to be some kind of clash. It was well off the ball. I don't think there was.
It's prior to the cross coming in, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sort of. But the table fell to the floor, and that's the problem. You know, you can't have eyes everywhere. You can't watch the ball and watch what's going on in the box.
Here's Adebayo down the right hand side, trying to get the ball into the centre. Across goes Alonso, puts it out of play. It's away for another corner to Barnsley. And they've had the best. It's not a corner, it's down for a throw-in, down by the corner flag. And again, Herbie Kane is coming over to wind up his arms and launch this ball into the penalty area. He goes short this time to Callum Britton, then gets it back to Britton after he gets the return. Britton drives into the penalty area, takes a deflection off Alonso, goes out for a goal kick this time.
Just seen it back, Sam, and it's never been a penalty. So Tammy Abraham's coming back from sort of an offside position, and he just bumps into the centre half and sort of throws himself to the floor.
Chelsea just look a little bit as if they're marginally off the pace here. 3 shots from Barnsley, 1 on target, 2 corners. Chelsea have had no shots on target, no corners, although they have had 69% of the ball, just haven't done much with it.
And 69% of that is in their own half, I would say. You know, the majority of it. I said, Barnsley started brilliantly. Absolutely superb.
Ziyech lays it off beautifully for Hudson-Odoi into the penalty area, looking for Tammy Abraham. Good reactions from Helik, who dives in front of Tammy Abraham and puts it behind and away for the first Chelsea corner of the game. It was a good swift move that, up through the park, down the right-hand side from Ziyech into Callum Hudson-Odoi. Immediately looked up and saw Tammy Abraham moving towards the near post. So did Helik, and he got there first and nudged it out for a corner.
Yeah, that's the problem. Chelsea, we all know they have real quality, at times, and Barnsley have got to be careful of that. Even though they're not really firing so far, Chelsea, they're still very dangerous.
0-0, 25 minutes played on TalkSport at Oakwell between Barnsley, 13th in the Championship, and Chelsea, 5th in the Premier League. Low ball by Ziyech into Gilmour. Looked to get the first time strike on the edge of the box, and it was easily cleared away by Barnsley. I think that will probably go down as a wasted corner.
I think they were just trying to play it to the edge of the box, weren't they, for Gilmour coming on for the side foot shot through everybody, maybe just squeak into the far corner, but sadly didn't quite connect.
Didn't have the composure to strike that, and he was shut down on the edge of the box. Chelsea have only scored 5 goals in 4 games under Thomas Tuchel, and 3 of those have come from open play. The other 2 have been penalties. Barnsley have only scored 29 in 27 games in the Championship, so it might not be like last night's 5-4. Here is Emerson down the left to Pulisic. Pulisic cutting in towards the near side and moves centrally now when he runs into traffic. Is pushed back towards the halfway line. Conte plays it out wide towards the right, collected by Callum Hudson-Odoi into Ziyech, who's immediately surrounded by 3 cherry red shirts. He gives the ball away, and across comes Woodrow, nabs Christensen, who's now on the floor after being bullied by the former Fulham man. Plays it infield. Mowat now up to the edge of the penalty area. Barnsley coming forward, left-footed shot which he didn't quite catch, and it goes veering wide of the right-hand upright.
And just goes to show, Barnsley, that they do have a threat. The pitch is starting to play a real part in this now. The ball is bobbling all over the shop. Just saw that corner back, Billy Gilmour, and it bobbled really nastily in front of him. And then just as the ball came into Christensen, that ball bobbled, and then he was, as you say, he was bullied off it he did his best to try and get something on it, but didn't. Barnsley did really well. You know, they do have a threat, and I think maybe the fact that they're just used to this pitch and used to playing in these conditions. Chelsea are still trying to play neat, tidy, one-touch football, and it's not going to work this evening.
Decided to have an impromptu drinks break over on this near side, and Kepa, Arrizabalaga and Emerson thought, oh no, we'll get on with this. Started playing again, and Martin Atkinson had to halt proceedings before it got a little bit out of hand. And Chelsea do have
and he probably shouldn't have done, actually, Martin Atkinson, but a little bit, let's give him fair, credit where credit's due, a little bit of common sense.
You're joking.
Hang on.
That's not in the law.
Referee common sense.
That's not in the laws. Don't use
outrageous.
Here's Hudson-Odoi down the right, trying to thrust the ball down into Ziyech's path, but is cut out by Anderson, who gets it in the midriff. Comes out towards the near side, takes a bounce off Woodrow, and goes into Valérien Ismaël's dugout. Valérien Ismaël was appointed in October, with Barnsley without a league win all campaign. They went on a brilliant run, won 10 of their first 15 championship games. They have slowed since that early impactful start. They are 13th in the championship without a win in 5 matches. But they have faced the top 3 teams in the division during that period, and they are enjoying their best run in the FA Cup for 8 years. And they certainly have looked very well organised in the opening 28.5 minutes that we've had here at Oakwell tonight. Chelsea have the ball though on the halfway line. It's forward by Emerson into Pulisic, who runs towards the angle of the penalty area before shifting it on. Then it's on to Gilmour, flick round the corner by Abraham. Chelsea don't react. Ziyech loses out. It's collected by Stiles on this near side, and he sees it back to his goalkeeper, who will hook it clear high up over the halfway line, looking for the run of Woodrow. Christensen is back and in operation again after receiving treatment, and Conte has the ball on the halfway line. Up to Ziyech, just right of the centre circle, swivelling and just deciding to hoik the ball out to the far touchline, where it's brought out of the sky by Alonso, wearing short sleeves tonight. Very tall and lean for a left wing back is Alonso, but very technically good. He scored a terrific goal with his ability to bring the ball out of the sky, juggle with it, and then volley it over his shoulder for the second goal of a game at home against Burnley recently, which was live on TalkSport. Sibak away from Barnsley and up over the halfway line, headed down by Zuma and into the arms of his goalkeeper Kepa, away to our left-hand side. This is seen as the first step on the road to recovery for Kepa Arrizabalaga. He wants to be the Spanish goalkeeper at the European Championships. He has been the number one for a while, but has been losing his place to David De Gea and others who are playing more football than him. He hasn't played often enough in the Chelsea team because he's made too many mistakes. He even made one in the last round against Luton, but Thomas Tuchel suggested that might be to do with the price tag weighing heavily on his shoulders. That confidence maybe that the new manager has given him maybe helped him produce that stunning save in the first 10 minutes of this game. Given away by Billy Gilmour on the halfway line. Stiles can't react to it. Chelsea pick it up. Ziyech onto Hudson-Odoi. That's a little bit late from Moet, and that's going to be a free kick 10 yards in from the near touchline, halfway inside Barnsley territory for Chelsea.
Chelsea have got to get their head around the conditions. Forget about the weather, forget about how cold it is. The pitch is poor. The pitch is really now starting to cut up, and that means that the ball is bobbling all over the shop. Chelsea are having to have an extra touch at times to get it under control, where they wouldn't normally have to think about that and worry about it. And that sometimes means that you have to play a little bit more direct, because those little intricate 5-6 yard passes, when they're bobbling up, make it very, very difficult.
Ziyech, Hudson-Odoi down the right, diving towards the byline, but before he can get there, it's played against him by.
But that's a great example, Sam.
And it's out for a goal kick.
He's running down by the defender, and it bobbles 2 or 3 times, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you can tell he's looking to maybe do a trick, or he's looking to drag the ball inside, and you can see him thinking, just sit down, ball, just sit down, wait, and it's just those fractions, those moments where you hesitate, wait for the ball to maybe settle down, stop bobbling, gives the opportunity for Barnes to get tackles in.
TalkSport 2, by the way, is bringing you live exclusive ball-by-ball commentary of England's cricket tour of India. We've got news this afternoon that England fast bowler Jofra Archer will miss the second test with India because of an elbow injury. The second test that starts this Saturday from Chennai, live on TalkSport 2. The easiest way to listen to TalkSport 2 is by downloading the free TalkSport app and swiping left so you don't miss a delivery of our award-winning coverage. You can ask your smart speaker to play TalkSport 2. Here is Zuma just shuffling the ball back out of play, so it goes out for a goal kick away to our left. And Barnsley once again ensure that Chelsea don't have everything their own way. They're looking to play it out short, but Barnsley have lined up to press and then haven't quite done that. Maybe it takes a little bit of energy out of your front players and they're just backing off for a moment.
But I think they're doing it deliberately. I think they're allowing the back three of Chelsea to have the ball. They're almost they're setting the trap. They're saying, go on. Yeah, they're saying, go on, you pass it out to Zuma, pass it out to Christensen, who aren't the greatest on the ball. And once you've done that,
wide towards Moet, into the centre. He delivers the cross away by Alonso, just in head of Britain, and it goes out of play and away for a corner kick over on the far side. Barnsley 0, Chelsea 0 on TalkSport. The winners will face Sheffield United in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, the 6th round. Everton, Man City, Bournemouth, Southampton, Leicester, Manchester United if you missed the draw a little bit earlier on. But at the moment, it could go either way. We could have an all-Yorkshire quarter-final if Barnsley were
South Yorkshire
to beat Chelsea. In towards the near post. It's aimed towards Mads Anderson. They're still in Yorkshire though, right? Just checking.
Well, South Yorkshire.
Still Yorkshire, isn't it? No?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that too often around Yorkshire.
Ball sent in towards Anderson. It runs out towards the far side.
They're almost different countries, let alone different counties.
Is it red or White Rose? Is it
Ellen Road? That's West Yorkshire as well.
You White Roses can argue it amongst yourself. If you want to have your own little war, that's up to you.
Don't worry about that. There's plenty of rivalry between North and South.
In Lancashire, just worrying about the things that are going on amongst those in the main city of that particular county, I think, at the moment, because those are the two teams that are fighting out for the title. Only two teams left, possibly, in the title race. Here is Christensen, although I'm reliably informed that Greater Manchester is no longer in Lancashire. Hasn't been for years. Here is Bradley Collins over the halfway line, although Lancashire do play their cricket matches at Old Trafford, which I cycle past rather a lot, must be said. Tomorrow night, by the way, Blackburn against Preston is on TalkSport 2. Saturday game day returns Leicester-Liverpool, followed by Around the Grounds with Adrian Durham game day live. Straight after that, 5:30, Manchester City against Tottenham with Trevor Sinclair, Clive Allen and Clive Tildesley. And then from 8 o'clock on TalkSport 2, it's Alex Crook and David Connolly bringing you Brighton against Aston Villa. Sunday, we've got Southampton against Wolves. That kicks off at midday. And then we do it all again as the Champions League hots up. The ball sent into the centre from the left-hand side by Moet as Barnsley come on the attack again. Britain has it right side, trying to get the better of Alonso. Alonso goes across and tries to stop him from getting the cross in, but he manages it anyway, just over the head of Woodrow, just by a couple of inches as it comes into the box. And Alonso a little bit disappointed, I think, that he didn't stop that ball coming in. It could have been a rather threatening delivery.
Barnsley are doing very, very well. I mean, they are the dominant side so far.
They've been terrific.
First 35 minutes of this game, they've been absolutely superb. Their attitude's been spot on. They've caused problems. Alex Moet, I think, has been exceptional. Some of his deliveries into the box have caused Chelsea real problems. They just need that goal before half-time, I feel.
Kane Styles, Kane again, crossing towards the penalty spot. Anderson with a header, away by Gilmour. Back in, over the top by Britain, looking to try and unsettle the Chelsea defence. Christensen away. Kane hooks it back into a dangerous area. Inside the 18-yard box, Zuma prods it clear. Sibuk meets it first. It's always a Barnsley foot or a head gets the second ball first. And then as Abraham tries to gallop away, he's held up a little challenge in midfield, I think by Connor Chaplin, just nicking at his heels, and as a result of that a free kick is given to Chelsea. But they didn't get away with a counter-attack, they didn't get over the halfway line at any galloping pace, and I think Barnsley will see that they've done their job as a result of that. 37 gone 0-0.
Because Chelsea are still trying to play like they would do in a Premier League game, passing the ball around, neat, tidy, swift football, because the pitch is very, very bobbly, they're having to have that extra touch. It's not as fast, it's not as slick, and that's allowing Barnsley to get challenges in and to be able to close them down.
Well, Chelsea love the FA Cup, 5 times winners in 14 years, bearing in mind they'd won it just 3 times in their history before that. It shows how much of an emphasis they have recently placed upon it. And Thomas Tuchel himself has been pretty prolific with cup competitions in Germany and France. He was the winner of the German and French equivalents in the first seasons that he joined both Borussia Dortmund and PSG. And he'll be hoping to put a bit of silverware on the Chelsea mantelpiece before too long. That is kind of the way it goes. If you don't, you're out.
It's a bit of a surely you should be winning at PSG though. The French club.
So. Well, he did, so it's all right.
It's more of a story if you don't win it, isn't it?
Alonso onto Zuma into Ziyech, back to Zuma, and then onto Pulisic, who gets dispossessed by Helik, and it's cleared towards the halfway line. Chelsea have it back again. Conte in the centre circle just nudges it through towards the retreating Ziyech, who's playing sort of in the half position on the right hand side, isn't really close enough to Abraham, keeps wandering into midfield, hasn't really found his role really in this team since Thomas Tuchel took charge. In fact, he hasn't found his role in the team since moving from Ajax. It's been interrupted because of injury. Certainly a very gifted player, and I think at one stage Chelsea thought that with Ziyech on one side and Werner through the middle, they had sort of a silk road of goals, but it hasn't been the case. From one thing or another, it's stopped them from really forming a partnership.
Well, then you think of how good Pulisic was before he got that hamstring injury. I think in the cup final, wasn't it?
Yep.
You're looking at that as a front three, thinking, wow. And then you've got players just in behind that. I think that's why everybody's really, really excited. Kai Havertz coming in as well and thinking, well, there's real strength and depth.
Argument that they had too many. Could that have been a problem?
Possibly. I think expectations go up, and when you bring in good players of that calibre, they all want to play. And as a manager, you've got to okay, I did really well last season. We got into the Champions League with a lot of young players, exceeded expectations. Now I've got all these big name players coming in, and they all want to play, and they're all knocking on my door saying, hang on a minute, I want to be playing here, you've spent fortunes on me. And other outside influences, even maybe inside the boardroom and the hierarchy, going, hang on a minute, we've paid all this money, why are these lads sitting on the bench? What's going on here?
Well, so if you want some evidence, have a look at what we've seen so far.
Well, yeah, but it's it starts to put different sort of pressures on the manager, and it's Thiago Silva comes in, you think, well, he's going to play on big wages, and I think he's done actually, one of the good signings.
Well. It's still 0-0. We've got 5 minutes to go before the half-time break, and here's Tammy Abraham with his back to goal. He's being harassed, cuddled, jockeyed by Helik and shuffled out of play.
Do we need to get someone to wake up Hugh Wozencroft in the studio in London?
Can you imagine how he's feeling?
Well, I mean, he's probably fast asleep.
I feel so sorry
if he was disappointed with last night.
It must be 22 degrees in that studio, air conditioned. He's probably sitting there with the remnants of his first half kebab or something.
Oh no, I reckon he's had a Horlicks. He's gone to sleep.
Here is Ziyech. He didn't enjoy the 5-4 last night. I wonder, he's probably loving this tactical battle. Here's Mowat down the left-hand side with a cross into the centre. It's away by Zuma, headed forward by Herbie Kay. Flicked on by Woodrow with his back to goal. Alonso steps in and clears. Alonso's been pinned back into a left full-back area rather than getting forward and helping the Chelsea attack in this first half. Pulisic rides past 2 challenges, runs through the centre circle, plays a lovely ball out to Hudson-Odoi. Maybe it's just dragged him a little bit wide. He's produced the cross. It comes back to Pulisic, who falls as he tries to hit it. And on the edge of the 6-yard box on the far edge, he slips over and spoons the ball out, and it's away for a goal kick to Barnsley. That's the best bit of football that Chelsea have produced.
Chelsea's first real chance, and it was just a half chance really. The ball was played a little bit wide for Hudson-Odoi down the right hand side, and he managed to dig out across to the back stick, and Pulisic sliding in on his left foot, couldn't quite get the contact that he needed to get it on goal.
Well, the best chance of the game unashamedly went to Barnsley. with Kepa Arrizabalaga save from Callum Britton, the former MK Dons right wing back, whose last goal was against Southend for MK Dons 18 months ago. Might not get a better and easier chance to open his Barnsley account. But
maybe that's why he hasn't opened his Barnsley account.
Maybe.
I mean, it was a great opportunity. It was a great ball in. It was a little flick on, and you're thinking he's just got to get a decent contact, and it's in the back of the net, and he sort of caught it with the bottom, the sole of his foot. Didn't get the contact he needed, and Kepa was able to make the save. Chelsea certainly haven't been revved up by that situation. And Valérien Ismaël just standing on the edge of the technical area, and big shout of keep it up to his troops, because he knows they've got to maintain this till half-time and beyond. Oh, yeah, but they're doing absolutely fantastic at the moment. You know, Barnsley have been the better side. They've played the pitch better, they've played the conditions, they've played the cup tie better. Need a little bit of nous, Chelsea, to get out of this hole. They've just given the ball away again, won it back, then sent it forward, lost it. Brad Collins is going to kick clear here, and he just thunders the ball into the stand opposite us. That's all right, that's not a problem. You know, okay, in an ideal world you'd like him to keep that in play, keep it on the island, but actually I'd rather him foul long, you know, 60, 70 yards up the pitch, rather than try and play out from the back and cause himself a problem inside the 30 yards in which he can be punished in. And Barnsley have done that very, very well. They've look, you can see now, look, they've set the trap. They're allowing the back three to have the ball, and everywhere else they're going man for man. And they've won it back very quickly, and it's picked up by Styles, who sends it forward. There's a bit of space here for Adebayo. He turns it out wide towards the right now. It's picked up by Britton. Can he run at Alonso? He does. He goes on the outside. Alonso gets back at him, manages to tackle it. There's two balls on the pitch here, which the assistant on the far side, Sean Macielis, didn't deal with, maybe because it wasn't causing a problem. They allowed play to go on, but there is out for a throw-in over on the far side, level with the edge of the Chelsea penalty area, and it's going to be tossed in by Herbie Kane. Is it going to go short instead to Britton? It does. Back to Kane, a chance to cross, takes a deflection, out for a corner. It's another one for Barnsley, and they've been very good in this first 45 minutes, and it'll be fascinating to hear what Andy Goldstein and Perry Grove say about this after we finish at 10 o'clock. 08717223344. Last night when I was driving home from the Everton-Tottenham thriller, there was a lot of Tottenham fans that were unhappy, and there'll be a few Chelsea fans that might be unhappy if it stays like this. Dermot Gallagher is going to be on that programme as well tonight. We'll probably get him to do both of his accents if you've seen that on social media today. Low ball into the near post, a set up towards the edge of the area. Oh, and it's struck by Britton, and then it goes towards the far post and just ekes past it. Another great chance for Callum Britton inside the 18-yard box. Another great chance for Barnsley. They could have had 2 goals in this first 45 minutes. They have none. I thought it was just going to trickle in at the far post. It comes from the corner, it comes out to Britton, and he fires it through a very crowded penalty area. Not sure if it took a couple of deflections on the way through, but somehow it squirmed just past the far post. But Barnsley again win it back as Chelsea tried to play short. Well, it came in towards the edge of the area. Britton's effort just took a little flick, didn't it? Here comes Connor Chaplin again down the left-hand side, fires across into the centre, bounces off Zuma. It's another Barnsley corner. Not only did they start the first half as the most dominant team, they've ended the first half as the most dominant team. And they're causing Chelsea all sorts of issues here. Just seen it back and it hit Adebayo. He tried to give a little back heel, little flick, and that's what just diverted it wide. Here is the corner taken by Britton towards the far post. Kepa comes out. She will be relieved that they've got through unscathed, because the two best chances undoubtedly fell to Callum Britton of Barnsley Football Club. The first pulling a slave out of Kepa Arrizabalaga down low to his left. The second a deflection of his own player in Victor Adebayo, which sent it just narrowly, agonisingly wide of the right hand upright as the goalkeeper looked at it. Barnsley caused a huge stir the last time they welcomed Chelsea to Oakwell in the FA Cup, and they are not making it easy for them tonight. Thomas Tuchel said he grew up loving the FA Cup. I'm not sure he feels that way now. Barnsley 0, Chelsea 0. Thank you, Hugh. Yeah, welcome back to Barnsley's Oakwell. Barnsley were the last championship side to eliminate Chelsea from the FA Cup back in 2008 when a second half header from Coyote Odejayi knocked out Avram Grant's cup holders. But
But they have certainly been the better of the two teams in the first 45 minutes. It'll be fascinating to see whether or not they can maintain that high octane, high tempo, high energy in the second half, Danny.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they will be able to have the same energy levels. It's just whether Chelsea start to get on the ball a little bit more. You know, start to play as we know they can. Chelsea have been, as great as Barnsley have been, Chelsea have been very, very poor. And they've set traps, they've allowed them sort of to play out from the back, and then they've swarmed all over them. And on a poor pitch, Chelsea haven't been able to deal with that. It's whether Chelsea get their head around, OK, we can't maybe play as much as we wanted to on this pitch. We might have to be a little bit more direct at times. But Barnsley, up to this point, absolutely superb.
Chelsea have made those two changes, as we alluded to, with Antonio Rudiger coming on for Chelsea, and also Reece James coming on for Chelsea as well. Whether that means that they revert to a back four, I think they probably will. It looks like they'll play Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, with James at right back, Rudiger and Zuma as the centre halves, Emerson at left back, then Gilmour and Conte in midfield, with Hudson-Odoi now on the left hand side, Ziyech in the 10, Pulisic on the right, and Abraham through the middle. They're wearing all blue tonight, shooting towards the left hand side now in this second half. Barnsley in red shirts, white shorts and red socks, attacking the goal away to our right hand side. The same formation as they had in the first 45 minutes, with their same personnel. No changes for their manager Valérien Ismaël at half time. So they have Brad Collins in goal, Sibuk, Helik and Anderson as the back three, Britton, Kane, Mowat and Stiles in midfield, with Adebayo, Woodrow and Connor Chaplin as the three-pronged attack. You're listening to Talk Sport, and after this you can have your say on national radio if you're a Chelsea fan or a Barnsley fan, proud of the performance whatever the result. It's 08717 22 33 44. Emerson in the left fullback position now, plays it across to Zuma under pressure from Woodrow, then on to Rudiger, and immediately wants to get it forward for Pulisic to chase down the right. How different is it for Barnsley to deal with the threat now that Chelsea will pose with an extra forward player on the pitch?
It does make it harder, and you just seen there Rudiger's gone, you know what, forget about playing at the back here, I'm going to put one in behind.
Here come Barnsley with Connor Chaplin shooting from the edge of the area after winning the knockdown. He hasn't scored too many goals. He's only got one, in fact he's got 15 appearances without a goal, which has been disappointing, and that has been a problem for Barnsley. They haven't had enough goals from the support staff to Cauley Woodrow, who has 9 this season, and that effort narrowly wide of the left-hand upright. It remains 0-0 on TalkSport as we start the second half. We've played just over a minute and a half. The ball is with Kurt Zuma deep inside his own territory. Emerson ran into the Barnsley dugout and had to be helped out by Valérien Ismaël. It's collected now by Rudiger. Now on to Zuma. Zuma looking for Chelsea's top scorer, Tammy Abraham, who's just come a little bit short to look and pick the ball up. Out wide it goes now to Reece James, and then on to Gilmour. Gilmour sweeps it out to Pulisic. Pulisic in from the right touchline, and Emerson being encouraged to move higher up the field by Thomas Tuchel, who's saying, right, get up there, get moving. He gets hold of the ball now and tries to lay it off to Callum Hudson-Odoi. So a little bit too thoughtful. They want to play on more instinct. The German manager wants them to play on more instinct. Ball out on the right side now. Chelsea looking to try and forage an attack. Tight to the touchline. Lots of divots and mud patches kicking up on this green playing surface here in the South Yorkshire Hills. Collected by Conte. Back to Emerson, now on to Hudson-Odoi, who moves infield, lays it across to Ziyech, who's immediately engaged by Mowat, but manages to get it enough to scoop it forward, looking forward for Abraham, away by Anderson. It's out to the near side, and once again Chelsea have it. Conte switches to play to the right. Reece James, Conte, and back to halfway. Still Barnsley not really allowing them to find their rhythm, Danny.
No, and what they're doing very, very well, I mean, people say it's old-fashioned. It's not. It's called closing down. You know, that's all they're doing. Now, the moment the ball moves sideways, Barnsley going, right, OK, are we set? One goes, then the next man goes in behind, and the next one follows in behind that. And that's why Chelsea can't really get any passes going in forward momentum. They're just going sideways, one way and then the other. They are in Barnsley's half, which is a change from the first half. But for the next 10 minutes, Barnsley just might have to ride a little bit of a possession storm.
49 minutes played. You're listening to Talk Sport. Tuchel trying to look how bad he's going on the touchline. He wants his team to press up. He wants them to push to the halfway line. They haven't done that, and he's furious about it. Rudiger heads it down. It's picked up by Herbie Kane in midfield. Played out towards the left-hand side. Completely misplaces his pass. It goes straight out of play, and it's away for a throw-in.
But that's Tuchel being sensible, because he'll have said to his players at half-time, he said, look, we're struggling to play out from the back because of the pitch. It's not brilliant, but you're better than these Barnsley players. Your technique is better, and we're struggling to do it. So I tell you what you need to do is, because you're better than them, go and put them under pressure and win the ball back off them. So he's really disappointed that he allows Barnsley time and space to get hold of the ball and turn him in field.
Well, Abraham tries to get hold of it on the right side. Again, across goes Mikael Helik, who nudges the ball out of play and away for a throw-in. This time over on the far side, in front of the stand opposite us. I had to lean down and pick up my Apple Pencil then, sorry.
Other pencils are available.
Not for the iPad, they're not. Barnsley 0, Chelsea 0.
I've got one, but it just won't work. It's a real pencil.
One of those HB numbers.
Oh, I don't know. It's wooden.
Here is Arida Balaga deep inside his 18-yard box, almost on the goal line, just right of the goal itself. Tries to kick clear over the halfway line. The ball comes through on the
Tuchel,
left foot.
sorry, Thomas Tuchel's furious. Look, he's turning around every few seconds. Well, lip reading's not great, certainly not great in German, but you can tell he's really not happy.
Do you know what? I have seen a pirouette like that recently, actually, that he just performed, but it was on an ice rink in the middle of an old RAF base, live on television on the Sunday night. Very graceful, and if all goes wrong at Chelsea, we'll have a spot for you on Dancing on Ice next year, Tommy. Here is Emerson on the near side. On to Zuma just in front of the 18-yard box.
I'm not sure he'll need the money if he gets sacked.
Sometimes they just do it for the adulation or for the jokes. Here is Emerson up on the halfway line, trying to touch it into the path of Hudson-Odoi, who runs down towards the left edge of the penalty area, plays it square into Ziyech, takes it on, across comes Anderson, and manages to get across his marker and nudge it out of play and away for, I think, a Chelsea corner on this near side. Went out by the corner flag away to our left, and it is indeed a Chelsea corner. It's only the second one of the game so far for Chelsea. Ziyech with Zuma, Abraham and Hudson-Odoi in the centre. Pulisic is in there too. It's a terrible delivery, wasteful, and it's out towards this near side. I must admit, I wasn't surprised that Alonso and Christensen were replaced at half-time. I thought the two of them actually were pretty ineffective in that first. I think they weren't the only ones, but Alonso switched off a couple of times to allow the efforts from Callum Britton, and you had that situation right from the very off that I pointed out, where Christensen just wringing his hands, looking as if he was just a little bit too chilly for him.
Meek and mild, would you call them both?
Yeah.
In terms of performance this evening.
Yeah. I mean, Christensen, often you worry about his battle readiness, don't you? He's supposed to be a Scandinavian Viking. Here is Abraham out on this left-hand side, bringing the ball down, sending it towards the edge of the area, flicked into the air by Pulisic. Oh, great header, and then Brett and Stiles try to fight for it over on the far side. It comes back out to James, though, who's going to try and get it in, but across comes Anderson, stabs the ball away, edge of the penalty area, and Barnsley won't let Chelsea anywhere near their penalty area.
Yeah, when I think of footballers as Vikings, I think of Brian Kilcline. I think he seems to more fit that sort of bill.
Yeah, Jonas Olsson, who used to play at West Brom, remember him? Yeah. Eamon Højbjerg is quite a combative player, isn't he? The Danish midfield player at Tottenham Hotspur we saw last night. Nowhere near the 9 goals that we had last evening. In fact, we haven't even had 9 shots, I don't think, tonight.
I think it's actually been a really good watch, though, isn't it?
It's been a really entertaining game because it has been a battle, hasn't it? It's been a proper battle.
Yeah, and Barnsley have really taken the game to Chelsea. They haven't just sat back and tried to play on the counter-attack or play for set pieces.
On right hand side, gets it back to Conte. Chelsea coming forward in blue, attacking the goal away to our left. And we've played a little over 54 minutes now, and it's still Barnsley 0, Chelsea 0 for the right to play Sheffield United in the next round of the competition. Everton, Manchester City is another one of those ties. Bournemouth against Southampton, Leicester against Manchester United. They're the quarter-final ties in the offing in the weekend of the 20th and 21st of March. Chelsea will hope to be a part of that, but at the moment it's all up for grabs. Free kick to Barnsley, who are absolutely in no rush to take this free kick. Brad Collins just ambling out of his centre-back position, slowly but surely, walking up to the ball, placing it down and preparing to kick it clear up towards Connor Chaplin. It's headed into the air by James, away by Woodrow, and it comes back into midfield. And Barnsley have actually made the most of these situations, Danny, where Chelsea, when they've had the set piece situations, haven't really caused Barnsley enough grief.
But, and do you know what that's down to? That's down to a fact of actually, you know what, we're not going to try and be overly clever. We're not going to try and be something that we're not. We've got the opportunity to put the ball into the box, so let's do it. You know, we're not too proud to say actually we're going to play a long ball and cause some problems, and that's what they've done. I think sometimes there is this myth, everything's got to be the perfect goal. It's got to be, 17 passes and then a tap in on the goal line. You know what? There's nothing wrong with using what you get given. If you get given a free kick or a set piece, use it.
Here comes Britain down the right-hand side, low cross in towards the near post. Rudiger deals with it, manages to clear, but it's one back again ahead of Emerson by Barnsley. Good little back heel in towards Kane. Cross headed away by Rudiger again, and Chelsea struggled to get it clear. And just when Ziyech waited for the ball to come down, Sivak was there to nudge it away from him. And again, Barnsley come forward down the right. This time the ball is collected by Emerson, and then won again on the edge of the area by Connor Chaplin ahead of Zuma before Rudiger tidies up.
And that's
more for Chelsea.
That's the big difference. And N'Golo Conte getting caught giving the ball away because they want to overplay all the time.
Another great tackle by Anderson. It sets Woodrow away into the area, taking on Rudiger, plays it against the German. It spirals out on the far side, and then Rudiger recovers to stop it from going for a corner. But Barnsley certainly the better team in this second half, as they were in the first, and they've won it back again. And this time Adebayo taking it off the toes of Ziyech, who sort of wandered back into his own half and into trouble.
Chelsea they're trying to play too intricate at the moment. Barnsley are not frightened, say look, the ball's bobbling, maybe I've had a bad first touch, I'm just going to put the ball in behind, just going to pop it in behind, and if I give it away it's not a problem because we'll all go and press and we'll all go and close down. Chelsea have still in that mindset, we have to play, we have to play, we have to play.
It's been a poor performance so far from Thomas Tuchel's team, and I think if you needed any evidence to back that up, you just needed to have a camera trained on his reactions for the most part of this second half. He's been absolutely furious, but the ball's just been nudged on by Billy Gilmour into Abraham. His back heel back to Gilmour was really nonchalant and inaccurate, and it's cleared away by by Barnsley up to the other end of the pitch, and Connor Chaplin is on the attack. Reece James goes across and plays it against him. It goes out of play, and it's away for a goal kick away to our right hand side. And the bad news for Chelsea is actually Barnsley have been better in the second half of some of their matches recently. In fact, the game against Forest recently, they were much better, and they kept a clean sheet in that match for the first time in 14 championship games. We certainly have played very well tonight. Hudson-Odoi on the left, cutting in, running towards the edge of the Barnsley penalty area. This time he beats Kane, gets down the left-hand side, low ball towards the far stick, and this time it whistles past the post. Abraham and Pulisic were coming in, but not quick enough, and the ball scooted through the 18-yard box and goes out the other side.
First time he's really been able to get the ball in the opposition's half. Good run, surging run down the left-hand side, then cut in, checked back onto his left foot, didn't really catch hold of it and just pulled it across the face of goal. But yeah, this is good from Barnsley, about to make a double substitution to combat what Chelsea have done at half-time. DK about to come on. The
First appearance for him, Daryl DK. Frieser is also about to come on as well, so his long throw weapon is available. So Adebayo comes off, and so does Connor Chaplin. Frieser and DK might be a different type of threat. DK's gone straight down the middle. It's his debut, DK. He made an international debut the other week against Trinidad and Tobago. He came on in the second half of that game, and that meant that it was easier for him to get a work permit to come to this country after starring for Orlando City in the MLS this year, where he scored 8 goals in 19 games. He's a former University of Virginia graduate. Let's see what impact he can make in the FA Cup. Here is Rudiger. He's a very tall and brawny figure. And he goes up through the middle with Woodrow moving out slightly to the right, and with Frieser playing on the left-hand side of that three-pronged attack. Chelsea clear from the right full-back area. James away towards Abrahams. Barnsley, the better team in the game so far, and with the better of the opportunities, the best opportunities in the game so far.
The team talk from Tuchel at half-time should have been, this is not a night for playing football. We don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to come away from here with egg on our faces. Just go out there and get the job done. It doesn't matter. I'm not interested now about playing in a certain way and playing great, attractive football. Go out there and win the game. End of. And we'll deal with the rest of it, later on.
Wonder what his reaction will be like afterwards. We'll be on the Sports Bar live from Oakwell tonight with Thomas Tuchel on the touchline after this game has finished. Here is Conte. Through up towards the halfway line, just left of the centre circle, hugging the white line of the centre circle before elevating it out to Hudson-Odoi, who tries to weave his way past Britton. Britton fouls him. It's a free kick to Chelsea, 10 yards short of the penalty area. Now Barnsley are only 8 points clear of the bottom 3. They can't afford a tricky spell, but they have certainly performed much better than last year. They generated a great escape at the end of last campaign. Gerhard Struber was plucked by the New York Red Bulls. I mean, why would you choose to go and work in New York when you can work in Barnsley?
Is that a loaded question?
Here's Ziyech down the left, aimed in towards Rudiger with a header, and it's only narrowly wide. Well, the free kick whipped in towards that near post beautifully. Rudiger arriving, getting a strong header on it, only narrowly wide.
He got himself just in front of the near post, and then it made it very, very difficult to get that on target. It had to be sort of like just a glancing header. Got too much purchase on it, and it went past the near post. But good delivery in, just still not quite right for Chelsea. But Barnsley, but they've got a game plan. Look at everybody is in this quarter of the pitch. They've loaded up this side. The goalkeeper punts it long. They'll have a fight ball, and then they'll go and try and win the second.
DK goes in between two Chelsea players, wins that ball, it runs loose. Billy Gilmour fights for it, plays it left, but it's a little bit too heavy for Emerson. He keeps hold of it enough to play it into Hudson-Odoi, but Britton wins it first. And Britton plays it into Mowat in the centre of midfield. He weaves away from Gilmour, plays it square out towards the far side, where it's collected now by Styles, who's been played in by Frieser. Back into Mowat once again. They're midway inside the Chelsea half. It's Barnsley 0, Chelsea 0, live on TalkSport. We've got more live football for you over the weekend when game day returns at 11 o'clock on Saturday. Leicester against Liverpool. Following that around the grounds on Game Day Live with Adrian Dunn will be based at the game between Crystal Palace are involved with Burnley on Saturday afternoon. And then straight after that, 5:30, it's Manchester City against Tottenham, and then Brighton against Aston Villa at 8 on TalkSport 2. 3 live commentaries for you, back-to-back on the TalkSport network this Saturday. It's game day. Here's Gilmour in front of his own 18-yard box, laying it back to Rudiger, who kicks it. Chelsea have just sort of almost run out of ideas, really, haven't they, Danny, in terms of they've managed to get higher up in this second half than they did. They've got an extra loaded weapon in the fact that Ziyech is now coming field to play as a number 10, and Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi are out-and-out wingers trying to support Tammy Abraham. But they haven't really created enough opportunities. I think they've had, 4 shots so far in the game, and none of which have been on target?
I was going to say, I don't remember the goalkeeper having to make a save of note. There was that sort of Tammy Abraham tacklish, pass-backy type thing in the first half that almost looped up and caused the goalkeeper a problem. But apart from that, there's been absolutely nothing in it.
Time for Olivier Giroud.
He's a target man. I think it gives you a slightly different option, and you can maybe play off them. But again, Chelsea are still sort of insisting on playing these neat, intricate little passes into very congested, bobbly areas.
Gilmour does find Reece James, who bounds into the box down the right side, plays it into Tammy Abraham, and Tammy Abraham tucks it home inside the 6-yard box to give Chelsea an undeserved lead. On the breakaway, Gilmour's ball was pretty decent out to James this time. He galloped down the right side into the 18-yard box. He squared the ball into the centre, and top scorer Tammy was there to tuck it home. It's Barnsley 0, Chelsea 1.
That's really unfortunate for Barnsley. They were swarming in the midfield, trying to win the ball back, trying to get it off N'Golo Kante. There was 3 or 4 players around him. The ball breaks loose to Billy Gilmour, who plays the ball out to the right-hand side, and Reece James flying down that right-hand side. I mean, he's got a big open space because Barnes have been very, very compact. I just wonder, I'm having a look. I think it was
offside, wasn't it?
I think he might be offside, There's no VAR.
No, there's no VAR. I will add this caveat. Sian Massey-Ellis is the assistant over on the far side. It would be unusual for her not to spot that if it is offside.
Oh no, she's outstanding official.
Her eyes are pretty impeccable most of the time. So I'd be surprised, but I mean, I think from our angle it certainly looked like that. I just wonder whether or not actually there's a player that's just a little bit deeper than Abraham at the back edge of the penalty area when that ball comes across. It looks tight.
I don't know. I think VAR would have taken a long look at that one.
Was he behind the ball?
No, definitely not. I tell you what we need.
Right, here is Anderson at the other end trying to chuck the ball goalwards as a free kick comes in, is headed away and then comes back to Anderson and then volleys the ball over the top of the crossbar and out harmlessly wide. And we've seen about 15 replays from the TV coverage on the iPad, and not one of them is...
That final one is the one that you're thinking, that's the one that they're measuring from. But there's no VAR. So the cameras aren't all effectively in the right places, are they? It's not conclusive, but it looks very, very tight.
It looks offside it looked offside to the naked eye.
Sam, you're a aficionado, and you're normally in the Premier League.
What are you going to ask?
No. Normally in the Premier League, the officials are told to keep your flag down.
Yeah.
At what point now do they put it up immediately?
Well, no, in this game they would not be asked to do that.
That's what I mean. So in this game, would they be asked to put their flag up immediately? They think it, whatever they think. Just checking that.
Which is very difficult, actually. If you're an assistant and you're going from a game with VAR,
that's what I'm saying.
VAR,
it suddenly
it does cause you an issue because the transition's hard. I think if you remember recently, there was a game involving West Bromwich Albion and I can't remember, Leeds United, where Rob Jones, the referee, ended up disallowing a goal because he called a foul, blew the whistle before the ball went into the net. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Now, Rob Jones has been working in the Championship without VAR.
It's offside.
He'd been working without VAR and then came into the Premier League and worked with VAR, but wasn't familiar enough with it, I don't think, to be completely clear. We've just seen another replay of it, and Tammy Abraham is offside from the first phase and the second phase. He is offside, isn't he? By some margin. And Sian Massey-Ellis is actually about 5 yards behind the ball there.
It's very, very difficult because there aren't many Premier League players as quick as Reece James on that right-hand side. And the break was so quick that's what I think, it's just unfortunate that she doesn't have... in fact, no official does. There's not a single official out there to keep up maybe with play. And she's 8 or 9 yards behind the play, I would say, if you look at the... and I think that's why she's missed it.
Again, you could argue that he's behind the ball, could you, depending on the angle of the camera?
I don't think so. When you look, I'm going by the lines on the pitch, the green line. But from that angle, Sian Massey hasn't got a hope of being able to tell if that's offside or not, because she's not in direct line.
Well, Tino Anjorin is about to come on for Chelsea. It's his third appearance of the season. He was born in Poole in Dorset, but very much a Chelsea lad from an early age. He replaces Hakim Ziyech as Chelsea make yet another change.
Yeah, I've seen it again, and there's nothing Sian Massey can do about that. She starts off in line with the defence, and when the ball is played into that line, Reece James has a touch out of his feet, and then he leaves her for dead by about 10 yards.
But there will be people who are watching this game tonight, and they'll say, well, last night you had VAR, and Sheffield United benefited from that.
Yes, yeah, oh, definitely.
You know, tonight you haven't got VAR, and Chelsea have benefited from the fact that Barnsley have conceivably have gone out of the FA Cup as a result of not having VAR.
I think the competition has to say it's either all or nothing.
Well, certainly when you get to this stage of the competition, it's either nothing and then bring it all in for the quarter-finals, or you don't. You don't have half and half.
That's what I mean. It's like, you know,
half the ties.
Everybody has VAR or nobody has VAR. That's where it should be. But there is literally nothing Sian Massey can do about that, because she starts level with Reece James when he has his touch. He knocks it out of his feet, and he's rapid. I mean, he's absolutely ridiculously quick, and he leaves the Barnsley defence for dead, and he leaves Sian Massey for dead, and then her angle is
away by Gilmore, and Kane trying to send the ball to Frazier, just overhits that, goes out of play. Sorry, Danny.
No, her angle is she cannot see. She cannot make a decision from where she was, and that's no official would have been able to do that. But that's what we want VAR for.
Yeah.
For those sort of incidents. That's why VAR, when it works, is good.
Well, it does stand, and Tammy Abraham has his 12th goal of the season, and Chelsea have a lead in this match, which they barely deserve, really.
Now, you see, if Thomas Tuchel was anything like Bielsa, he just let Barnsley score.
It's the ball into the box from Britain on the right-hand side. That isn't the case, I'm afraid.
If he was a proper gentleman.
You think so? I think no one's ever scored an offside goal against one of his teams. Here is Zuma bringing the ball out of defence out towards the left-hand side. Chelsea have possession. They lead by a goal to
He's still furious. I look at him. Look, he wants them to be higher up the pitch. Stop. He doesn't want them playing needless passes at the back.
Anjorin gets past Sibuk, plays the ball down the left looking for Tammy Abraham. Cut out by Sibuk and then sent forward again. DK, who hasn't really got into the game since coming off the bench here, has chased it down, but Arida Balaga will bring it upfield. He's made two big saves in that first half. Arida Balaga. Barnsley about to make a couple of changes in the next few minutes, I think. Here comes Zuma up to the halfway line.
Barnsley not out of this yet, though. I mean, is that Chelsea's first shot on target?
First shot on target, first goal, and it should have been ruled out for offside. Here's Anjorin wandering through the centre, flicks the ball out to the far touchline, brought down by James. James plays it centrally. Conte goes backwards rather than forwards, and Zuma into Conte, out to the left-hand side. Thumbs up from Thomas Tuchel as Chelsea try to knit the play together in the centre of the park. It's chipped into the air, drops at the feet of James, controls it first time, and that was a positive, bringing him on as a substitute in the half-time break from Thomas Tuchel, changing that side of the Chelsea attack, who've won it back again with Emerson down the left into Callum Hudson-Odoi, scoots into the area, tries to shoot right-footed, but scoops it over the bar, and it goes behind and away for a goal kick to Barnsley. It's Barnsley 0, Chelsea 1. A disputed Tammy Abraham goal separates these two teams.
Well, it's be interesting. I'm sure there'll be lots of people phoning in to the sports bar after us complaining about the decision, but this is where VAR would have been absolutely perfect, because the officials from their position cannot see whether that's offside or not, and that's where VAR, it still might be onside because we haven't seen the lines. It could be fractionally on. It looks offside, but we don't know conclusively. That's where VAR would be absolutely perfect to clear that one up, because it's not a mistake by the officials, they just can't see it from the angle that they're at.
Romain Palmer coming into the midfield area, and Williams replacing Britton on this near side in the right full-back position. Another change, a couple of changes for Barnsley. Chelsea fans will also say they should have had a penalty themselves in that first half as well.
Yeah,
if VAR hadn't been in action.
Well, and I've seen that several times at half-time, and there's only one angle that it looks like a penalty.
So you don't think it was a clear and obvious error?
Oh no, I mean, having seen...
Because that's the only way the VAR would have overturned it, isn't it?
I've seen... There were 4 different angles, and only one you can say it's a penalty. From the other 3 angles, it looks like it's a good tackle. So that's where I don't put any fault on the referees or the officials, because you know, I've looked at 4 different angles, and 3 of them I don't think it's a penalty. There's only one that I do, and that's almost impossible. Would VAR have given it? Probably, I would say, because of that one angle.
So we're all square then with VAR.
Well, maybe
1-1 on the night.
Well, but that's, you know, that's...
It's 1-0 to Chelsea on the scoreboard, and that's all that matters at the moment for Thomas Tuchel, after what has been a pretty drab display by his team.
So therefore you're saying we don't need VAR because it evens itself out.
Yeah, what a waste of a few tens of millions of pounds that we've spent bringing in this system that nobody seems to like. Emerson, deep inside his own half. 08717 223344 is the number to call if you want to speak to Perry Groves and Andy Goldstein on the show tonight. But yeah, it's been a pretty dismal performance by Chelsea, mainly because of how well Barnsley have played and approached the game. Very fit team that cause you all sorts of issues. They've had some bad luck with refereeing decisions recently themselves. They were wrongly awarded a corner against Cardiff, and Cardiff scored from it. They didn't get a pen they thought they deserved at Forest, and tonight they've conceded a goal that is offside. So you can imagine the Barnsley fans will be furious. Angerin playing it down through the left channel, but it was between Abraham and Hudson-Odoi, and not to them or in a zone that they could run onto, and it goes straight through to Brad Collins away to our left. But
Barnsley is still in the ascendancy. I think, you know, even though they're 1-0 down, you have to say that they're still on top. And I think, you know, Alex Mowat in the midfield,
it's been terrific.
He's been absolutely superb.
He's holding out for a new deal, actually, until the end of the season. There'll be no shortage of takers should he look to ply his trade elsewhere. Chelsea lead by a goal to 0. We've played 74 minutes, another change, and Solbauer comes on to replace Sibuk. That's a usual change at the heart of the defence. Happens rather often. Sibuk just trots over towards this near side. He's only 22 years of age. His last goal actually was in the FA Cup for AFC Wimbledon against West Ham 2 years ago. This is his 7th appearance of the season tonight, and he is replaced by Solbauer. My producer, who's back in the studio now, is telling me that replays have shown that Tammy Abraham was behind the ball, therefore onside. Told you.
You didn't.
It was one of the things I mentioned.
one of the 72 things that it might have been. but that's fine then. You know, but VAR would have cleared that up and would have made it. Everyone would have gone, okay, that's fine. Not a problem, you know, that's no issue.
Well, that's a late challenge over on the far side by James, and that's going to be a free kick to Barnsley, about 10 yards outside the penalty area, wide on the left.
But from where the officials were, from their position on the pitch, they could not tell whether that was on or off.
And if in doubt, there you go, which is what they did. Mowat, who's going to take this free kick, has placed the ball down. He's about, he is 9 yards back from the edge of the penalty area. And the one-man Chelsea wall is Christian Pulisic, who's standing a yard inside it. It's wide on the left. They'll whip this in towards the penalty spot. Anderson and Helik are up from the back. It's whipped in, left-footed, aimed towards Anderson with a header. Keeper's come absolutely nowhere, and it's cleared off the line by the retreating Reece James and over the top of the crossbar as it's hooked towards goal. Well, Kepa Arrizabalaga got lost in amidst the crowd of bodies. The ball was hooked back towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It came straight to the line, and then I think it was Tammy Abraham who eventually headed the ball over the top and out for a corner.
Well, Kepa came out, got nowhere near it, and it was just looked like it was going to drop him, and somehow Tammy Abraham has just sort of flicked his head at it and managed to get it up and over the crossbar.
Well, what a crowded penalty area that was, and where on earth was the goalkeeper going? It goes out for a corner on this near side. Mowat is going to take it. Chaos inside that Chelsea box from that free kick. Can Barnsley cause more chaos for Thomas Tuchel's team, who lead by a goal to 0 with 15 minutes remaining on TalkSport in the FA Cup 5th round? It's whipped in, left-footed by Mowat into the near post, and Abraham is up there again. this time heading it against the Barnsley forward and out for a goal kick away to our right. Kepa is complaining to Martin Atkinson that there should have been a foul. Not too sure about that.
Having just seen it again, I think Reece James was behind Tammy Abraham as well, so he may well have cleared it off the line. But again, Barnsley, they're still playing the high press. They're still in this game. They're not out of it. I said at the start, they don't want to get themselves embarrassed, and whatever they do, just stay in the game. They've done more than that, I have to say. I think they've been absolutely excellent this evening. And they're only, they just need one chance. One chance, a little bit of composure, and they take it to extra time.
Chelsea about to make another change, another introduction. And Mateo Kovacic is about to come on, try and stiffen up the midfield. That just shows you they're not entirely comfortable, doesn't it? Flick on by Abraham.
Well, they've had one shot on target, Sam.
Yeah.
That's all they've had. Barnsley, I don't know what the possession stats are, but I think Barnsley have dominated this game.
Yeah, a possession I think Chelsea have had more of.
But they've had that in their own half.
In terms of what has been done with the ball, certainly Barnsley have had more shots, 8 of them to Chelsea's 6, and 1 each on target, 6 corners. So certainly they've been the more creative force and had more possession inside the Chelsea territory than Chelsea have had in theirs. But it remains Barnsley 0, Chelsea 1. A goal coming from Tammy Abraham, which was hotly disputed, but I think we've cleared it up now after about 20 minutes of looking at replays.
Well, I don't know, I've not seen it yet, so I'm yet to be...
Until Danny Mills says it's done, it's not done.
Exactly, I'm yet to see that exact replay that says it was onside.
Yeah.
I've still got my bendy eyeballs in.
Kovacic on and Pulisic off as we go into the
anonymous, isn't
10 minutes. Who?
Pulisic.
Who? Here's the throw from the right side. Friesia tries to...
It's not that cold, it's not freezing just yet.
And then it's picked off by Hudson-Odoi and clears up towards the halfway line. Angerin just leans his body into the tall figure of Solbauer. Ball ricochets to the edge of the Barnsley penalty area where Mowat is tidying up. He clears to the halfway line. Backheeled by Angerin, goes straight out of play. And look, maybe taking a little deflection off Palmer and goes out and away for a Chelsea throw. The second test returns to your airwaves. The cricket returns to your airwaves. The second test from Chennai, England, who won the first test, looking to go 2-0 up in the series. Won't have Jofra Archer. You'll be able to hear everything on TalkSport 2 from the 13th of February, Saturday morning, around about 4 o'clock. TalkSport 2, download our app, which is free. You can flick between TalkSport and TalkSport 2. You can also ask your smart speaker to say, play TalkSport 2. James collides over on the far side with Friesia. And as a result of that, it's going to be a free kick to Barnsley, wide on the left, just outside the Chelsea penalty area. And bearing in mind what happened the last time they tossed the ball in from the free kick on the left-hand side, this could be more problems for Chelsea's defence.
Well, I think it's going to be the right footer to swing it in this time around. I think it's Palmer that's going to do it. Normally it's Mowat that takes most of the set pieces, but that would... an outswinger. So far they've liked to bend it in towards Kepa. There's a big group of players that are going to tumble in towards him. Well,
they're only 7 yards out from the goal, aren't they? And there's 4 red shirts, including Helik, Anderson and Woodrow. I mean, it was a terrible delivery. Comes back out to Jordan Williams. Palmer wants it again. It's floated out to him. He runs into Gilmore, but just about gets beyond Gilmore. Then attempts to produce a cross, plays it against Gilmore, and then I think I miscontrolled it at the second attempt, and it goes out of play and away for a goal kick. What a waste.
Lost his head a little bit, didn't he? Tried to whip the free kick in too hard. Hit the first man, never really got it off the ground, and then I think that was affecting him when it came out to him the second time, and didn't have the composure to just get it out of his feet and feel the ball into the box again.
This is the second time that Thomas Tuchel and Valerian Ismail have clashed on the touchline. Ismail was sacked 8 days after the last time when in charge of Wolfsburg. They lost 3-0 to Tuchel's Borussia Dortmund. There's any danger of that at the moment. He's Mr. Popular around here, and he's tried to ingratiate himself with those in South Yorkshire despite the lack of supporters being allowed in the ground. He donated 200 quid to a Barnsley-based brass band that needed 4 tubers repairing. He doesn't want to blow his own trumpet, but he also worked with the local food banks and sent Christmas cards to young supporters over Christmas, didn't he?
Should have bought them all chips and gravy as well. Then they've been really happy.
Here is Woodrow on the halfway line, looking to try and get the ball forward. That's a little bit hefty from Tammy Abraham on Palmer on the halfway line. Thomas Tuchel's upset again. Free kick has been given to put the home side, and Mowat wants the ball given to him so he can hike this towards the edge of the penalty area.
Do you know what I like about this now, Sam? It's a real cup tie now, isn't it? Sort of, just under 10 minutes to go, probably with injury time. Get it in the mixer.
Yeah, well, that's the philosophy. Mowat will send it forward to the edge of the area. It's headed down by Helik. It takes a little deflection and spills out to the right full-back position, where Abraham, with his long pipe cleaner legs, smashes the ball against Styles on the far side, and it goes out for a Chelsea throw deep inside their own territory. We have got around about 6 minutes remaining on Talk Sport. It is Barnsley 0, Chelsea 1. And Chelsea will go through to play Sheffield United in the quarter-finals of this competition. On recent performances, they'll have to play a lot better than this to get beyond Chris Wilder's team. In the FA Cup, at least.
Well, I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know. Have you seen their league position?
Yeah, they've done very well, though, in this competition, haven't they? They've got the winning habit. Emerson just trying to spice things up by spooning the ball all the way back to Kepa in quite difficult circumstances. It bobbles up and he just about gets it square. Chelsea try to clear from the right full-back position now. It comes back via Helik. A foul on Mowat gives another free kick.
Everybody's going forward again. I think the goalkeeper's going to take this free kick.
Brad Collins comes out, plays the ball to Mowat. I think Mowat will swing this towards the edge of the area again. We're late on in the cup tie here. 85 minutes on the clock. Talk Sport. Barnsley 0, Chelsea 1. Chelsea with a barely deserved lead here on what has been a really good night for Barnsley, have showed their mettle. They swing the ball into the edge of the area. Woodrow with a header rises, and it's an easy catch for Kepa Arrizabalaga.
Yeah, the header was never going to trouble Kepa from that distance. The header from 17 yards out, 16 yards out. Even that's going to have to go on to beat Kepa.
Tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, Alan Brazil back on breakfast. He's got Ray Parlour, Steve Harmison and Trevor Sinclair with him tomorrow. Very much a morning zoo feel to the sports breakfast tomorrow morning. And Harry Redknapp's going to be on the show as well tomorrow.
Is he still at Bournemouth? He's caretaker now, isn't he?
No. Jonathan Woodgate in charge.
Oh, is it? That's now official?
No, it's not official. He's in caretaker charge. I think.
Yeah, but Harry's advising, isn't it? Harry's in charge.
Here's DK inside the area, getting the ball down the right-hand side, shooting, takes a deflection off Zuma and into the arms of Arrizabalaga. Sorry, what did you say?
If Harry's there, Harry's in charge.
He's just advising. He's not even an official role.
So he's advising what players to play, advising what tactics to do. I think he's in charge.
Well, so far they've won 2 games, I think, under Jonathan Woodgate. And they're no closer to getting a new Conte's given the ball away inside his own half cheaply. They're no closer to getting a new manager, Bournemouth, by the way.
Well, they've narrowed it down to 4, haven't they?
Have they?
I think that was what I read today at some point. They've got a short list of 4.
Thierry Henry had thrown his hat into the ring. And Patrick Vieira too. DK's laid the ball off edge of the area. It comes back to Cauley Woodrow. Chelsea can't get it clear. Jordan Williams with a chance to cross. Not a great delivery. Kovacic stands in his way and manages to get it out on this near side, but it goes straight out of play for a Barnsley throw. Barnsley keeping the pressure up here right at the very end of the game. Chelsea don't look at all composed at the back. In fact, they look very scrappy and edgy and often guilty of gifting possession back to Barnsley. A lot of that has to do with the high energy and the press that Barnsley have put on. A lot of it is to do with a little bit of lackadaisical complacency from Chelsea, who have come here, I think, thinking that they were going to roll over Barnsley. That certainly has not been the case, Danny Mills.
No, it hasn't. Barnsley have been the better team, you know.
Or DK inside the area, getting the wrong side of Zuma, gets a right-footed shot over the crossbar, but the flag was up from Dan Cook on this near side anyway. And it's going to be a free kick to Chelsea, and we have now just 2 minutes remaining at the end of the 90.
You don't always get what you deserve in games of football. You know, Barnsley they've been absolutely superb this evening. You know, the effort, the way they've played, the conditions, played the pitch, the way they've played all night long. Their attitude has been spot on, absolutely first class. Alex Mowat, I think I'd be surprised if he doesn't get man of the match. I know he's probably going to end up on the losing team, but he's been outstanding.
It's been a good game to watch as well. Do you think we kept Wozencroft's attention tonight, or did he switch over to Life Stories with Gemma Collins on ITV?
Oh, I think he's gone home to bed. I think he's left already. I don't know. That's it. He's got his feet up. He's got his eye mask on. He's got his fingers in bowls of, I don't know, whatever you put your fingers in bowls of.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
Put his manicure.
Ball's gone out on the near side. Chelsea have attempted to clear. It means there's a chance to throw the ball in for Barnsley. Is there one last chance here for them to cultivate an attack? There'll be 3 minutes added at the end of the 90. We're into the 89th minute of the match. Frieser, long throw into the near post. Tammy Abraham heads it out, and it's a corner. It's a corner to Barnsley in the last minute. And do you know what? They deserve an equaliser here tonight. They've created the better football. They've dominated any of the attacking
Abraham's down
play.
hurt at the moment.
Abraham's got a shoulder issue. Martin Atkinson has stopped proceedings as a result of that, and then once he's realised it's a shoulder problem, he said, now you've got to get on with it or get off. It's up to you. They've decided for him to get back and help out defensively, and they need him because he's been the best header of the ball inside the area when it's come into the box, and it's going to come into the box now. They're crowding Kepa Arrizabalaga out in front of the stand away to our right. It's aimed right under the crossbar. Who's collided with the post? Kepa Arrizabalaga have got enough on the ball to get it out, and a free kick has been given for a foul on him anyway, and Chelsea are going to get the opportunity to clear it.
Well, it was absolutely mayhem there, wasn't it? Ball right in to the near post. Tammy Abraham's still struggling a little bit, but that corner was whipped in. It was almost looking like he was trying to score in at the near post. Maybe just a little nudge on Kepa that pushed him into the post. That's why Martin Atkinson gave the free kick, but you know, it would have been a late night for us. It's been very, very cold, but you want Barnsley to equalise. It's what they deserve.
Have managed to go through the last few games with not conceding too many goals. They don't score too many goals either, just 11 goals in their last 7 games at either end. It's only 1-0 to Chelsea, which means going into stoppage time at the end of this match, there is a chance that they could nab an equaliser. 3 minutes have gone up on the ball. We've hit the 90. Tammy Abraham scoring the only goal of the game so far. Free kick for Brad Collins. It's in his own half, but he will smash it upfield towards the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. It goes down the left towards Solbauer, who chases after it. It comes off Reece James. It's out for a throw-in, and Dominic Frieser goes across to take it with his long throw. He's going to torpedo this into the penalty area. Over on the far side, Valérien Ismaël is just sending everybody forward. Solbauer has been told to get back into the penalty area. The centre-half has come on as a sub. It's aimed towards the near post, flicked on into the 6-yard box. It's cleared away by Tammy Abraham and then picked up on the left, whipped in by Jordan Williams towards the far post. A header which goes up off the back of Emerson, flicks into the air, and Arrizabalaga stretches out his arms and pulls it into his chest and gratefully survives yet another Barnsley onslaught.
Well, I think we've got about a minute left. The ball of 3 minutes went up, played 2 minutes now. Chelsea just got to hang on, try and keep hold of the ball.
Well, this has been a nervy night for the new manager, Thomas Tuchel.
Welcome to the FA Cup, isn't it? He said he loved the competition, now he knows all about it.
He said he used to watch the final back in Germany and then go out into the back garden and reenact winning the trophy. Well, I'll tell you what, if Chelsea are going to win the trophy, they're going to have to play a lot better than this.
Chance now.
Foul by Kovacic on Mowat, and this free kick has been given 10 yards outside the penalty area. Brad Collins turns round to Valérien Ismaël and says, can I, Gaffer?
Go on.
Can I, Gaffer? What a story it would be if Brad Collins, the former Chelsea Youth Cup winning goalkeeper, was to score an equaliser in the FA Cup fifth round.
Why is he asking? This is like going to be the last kick of the game.
Everything has to be checked with a gaffer nowadays.
Just get yourself in the box, man.
Mowat to take the free kick. It's 12 yards back, 13 yards back from the edge of the area. Just right side, lifted into the penalty area, headed up into the air by Angerin. He drops inside the box. It's picked up by Palmer. And was there some holding inside the area? There was. And that holding has generated a free kick for Chelsea right at the very end of the match. We have played our 3 minutes of added time, and Chelsea are going to just about get the job done on a really tricky night at Oakwell, where I think When they look back at the chances that Callum Britton had in the first half, Barnsley will feel they should have got on the score sheet in that first 45 minutes. Chelsea may feel as if they should have had a penalty as well, but they do have the only goal of the game thanks to Tammy Abraham, who scored after a right-wing cross from Reece James in this second half. Chelsea are just about going to get the job done here on a freezing night at Oakwell, but the ball's come back towards their own goal. Rudiger, who's already put it in his own net once this week, doesn't want to do it again, sends it back out towards the far side. There is the full-time whistle, and Thomas Tuchel negotiates the first of his FA Cup ties. And you know what, up until this point there's been very little to worry about for the new Chelsea manager, but there was more than a few headaches for him to get over on this occasion. In the first half, Barnsley were the better team. In the second half, Barnsley, for the majority of it, were the better team. But Chelsea came up with the winning moment thanks to Tammy Abraham, who has now been directly involved in 9 goals in his last 7 starts in the FA Cup. He certainly enjoys playing in this competition. A hat-trick against Luton, a winning goal tonight, and Chelsea just about are through to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. Barnsley 0, Chelsea 1.